Welcome to Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. On this episode, we meet Arlene Heeman. She is an avid motorcyclist, and she joins us to tell us about her adventures. We also learn more about what plans have been made for 2010 for the City of Austin from Mayor Tom Steen, CVB Director Cheryl Corey, and Chamber Director Sandy Forstner. And finally, we find out what happens when Santa visits Austin on a Canadian Pacific train. Stay tuned for Cities on the Move. Has been involved in acting, directing, and instructing for many years. Let's find out more about how you can pursue a career in the performance arts in southern Minnesota.
My name is Jerry Guertin, and I'm the Director of Theater at Riverland Community College. I grew up on a farm near Grand Meadow, and I first remember getting interested in acting when my brother and sister, who were older than I am, were in high school, and I was their little brother, of course. Walking down, we had this long driveway. And I remember walking down the driveway, and I would carry their script, and they would be memorizing the lines from like their senior and junior class plays. And so I would be memorizing all these other lines because, you know, little kids, it's like, you just remember them. So I think that was probably my first contact, because I would think, gosh, I think I want to do something like that when I get to be in high school. My first play was when I was a fall of my sophomore year in high school, and it was Tios of the August Moon, and Joan Swain was the director. I was kind of hooked right from the beginning at that point. I went to Austin State Junior College and worked with Frank Bridges. I was a student there, and then went on to Southwest State, and I just kept doing it and started directing in high school, and it's kind of been my passion and my hobby, has been my career, and can't ask for better than that. I think one of the reasons I enjoy working with students in educational theater the most is that you have a whole range of talent and experience. In every play, there will be the student that has never been in a play before, and he gets the idea that, well, I think I'd like to try that. And then you also have students that have been in maybe just a plethora of plays in high school and have a good amount of experience. But basically, they're all kind of rookies, kind of novices going into the college scene. So that's why I really like educational theater. It's such a challenge to put this all together. It's so hard to tell what your favorite style is when you're doing it. I always tell people that my favorite one is the show I'm working on right now. I have perhaps a little more passion for big musicals because I like taking it from chaos of a cast of 40, 50, or 60 to an organized, smoothly kind of running machine. I really enjoy that challenge. An interesting part of being in the theater is being part of the community. Fine arts contributes to the health of the city in so many ways. By providing a cultural experience right in Austin, or Albert Lea, or Owatonna, or Blooming Prairie, or wherever it is. And I think a healthy community will be a community that has all kinds of variety. I love being part of theater because you start out with a script. You have this book. And the book says there are 22 people in the play, and it takes place here, and it does this, and you have to have an orchestra and a set, and so you go to work at it with my tech director, Brad Weber, and costumer, Kay Perry, and musical director, Scott Blankenbaker, and we go through all of this, and in a matter of 5, 6, 7 weeks, it's all there. There are audience members applauding, and then in a matter of nights it's over, it's done, you tear it down, you throw it away, and you pick up another book and say, okay, what can we do with this? And I think that's what I enjoy about it so much.
In what city did the Canadian Pacific Holiday Train begin its journey? Find the answer on our website, ksmq.org.
Well, today we are talking about the new year and all the plans that the community of Austin has going. Our special guests are Mayor Tom Steen. We have Cheryl Corey from the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we have Sandy Forstner from the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Well, let's have each of you talk a little bit about your organizations first, and then we'll have you kind of talk from a community perspective. So, Mayor, can you give us a sense of kind of what's on the city's agenda? And actually, I want to start with a recap. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Tell us what you think perhaps is one of the best accomplishments of the city in the past year, in 2009.
Well, I think the major thing that the city had to deal with were LGA cuts, budget cuts, things in that in the area of the budget. We've lost quite a bit of money from the state in the last year, actually in the last 2 years, and we had to pare our budgets down substantially to meet those and do so without raising taxes or with minimally impacting citizens with tax raises, and I think we've accomplished that very well. So that was probably the number one thing that the city had to deal with. And
one of your biggest challenges, too,
it was a
big,
it is, and it's an ongoing challenge. I think we're looking at the same thing for probably the next several years.
Okay, yep. So. Things are a little tough out there.
They're a little tough. They're a little tough for everybody right now. Not only government, but citizens. We're going through. Hopefully, we're just starting to pull out of a tougher time. But we're still there right now, and we have to deal with it. And do what you can. And I think the city council did a good job in dealing with it this year. So
great. Now, Cheryl, your organization deals with visitors coming to town or helping people with meetings and things. What do you consider the Convention and Visitors Bureau's greatest accomplishment in 2009? Or can you kind of give us a recap of how many visitors we had, give us a sense of how the year went?
Absolutely. 2009 was really a good year, and I think probably our most outstanding accomplishment of the year was a bowling tournament we had that went 15 weekends. Wow. And it brought thousands of people into the community, and they stayed in our lodging and ate in our restaurants and spent money in our stores, and it had just a really great economic impact. And a lot of those people have come back to take in more of the city as they've had time to do that. Besides that, we've had a number of other great convention groups and motor coach groups, and we're just always looking to show off the city.
Great. Now, do you guys measure from year to year how many visitors come? I know that's probably a very difficult task.
We try. You can't really keep tabs on everybody that comes in for, say, sports tournaments, because not only would it be the players and the teams, but it'd be the parents and the grandparents and the siblings.
Sure.
We kind of do a best guess on some of those, and we keep track absolutely of the ones we can monitor, like the motor coach numbers and the convention attendees. And we do an annual report every year, and we report what we can directly identify through our efforts.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, do you think perhaps the success of last year was attributable to people maybe vacationing or doing things a little bit closer to home?
Oh, yes. We know that is. Looking at the state as a whole and southern Minnesota as a region, we found that we marketed Minnesota more to Minnesotans this year. Okay. People stayed closer to home, maybe spent less days on the road, but they definitely are still traveling. They're still out there spending money. And like Mayor Tom said, I think we're in a really good position in Austin and Moore County because our unemployment rates are better than other areas, and we really did well overall compared to probably other parts of the state.
Great, have some strengths there. In terms of the events, you mentioned this bowling tournament. That takes some organization not only on your guys' part, but there must have been a local host to this. Can you tell us about the local folks that help make these things happen?
Sure. Our hotels helped with giving some comp rooms to the judges. We had many businesses that helped do prizes and things like that. We were able to attract a lot of people because of some of the compensation we could do. We always do an Austin gift basket to our organizers, and this was a state tournament, so there were many people involved. Okay. John Gray, who works at Hormel, was a really huge part in bringing the tournament to Austin, and a number of folks just helped across the state get it here. And like I said, that one brought in thousands, so it was outstanding.
Great, very nice, very nice. Now, Sandy, your organization is very community-minded and has a little bit of a business focus to it. Give us a sense of your favorite accomplishment for 2009.
I think our marketing efforts, particularly related to shopping locally, were really quite successful this year. Buy more, grow more. Mm-hmm. It was our first full year of that campaign, and despite the economy, being as soft as it was, as depressed as it was, really, retail sales in Austin were actually up throughout the year. We've seen an increase of 11% so far in 2009, and that translates into quite a few dollars, about $26 million in additional retail sales in Austin. So that's a very positive thing. I think it speaks a little bit to what Tom and Cheryl have said, that we're fortunate here in Austin that we have a little bit more stable economy than many parts of the country. It's a good time to be food-based, and our unemployment rate, remains among the lowest in the state of Minnesota, and I think currently is the lowest in southeastern Minnesota.
Great. That Buy More, Grow More campaign was very significant. You saw a lot of promotion about that. You had some partners that helped you pull that off. Who were those folks that were involved?
Really, the whole community is involved in that, because it's not only, of course, the business community supporting it, but it's also the residents of the community and people buying into the idea that, when those dollars are spent locally, that they have a chance to flow back through the community. And they come back in a variety of ways. They help create and retain jobs. They support the tax base that Tom was talking about. And they also provide businesses with money to support charitable organizations that are so important to so many people in a variety of ways, whether it's your Little League team or whatever it might be. It's just really about flowing dollars through and helping out your friends and neighbors.
Yeah. We learned a lot more, I think, sometimes in downtimes about how interrelated we are and how that circle closes in a local community.
I think that is a very good point, and I think it's times such as this that you kind of reflect on what is really important to you and your family, and of course family comes right to the top, and community is certainly right there. This is our home, and we are probably going to be as successful and have as good a quality of life as we can if we all kind of work together towards some common goals.
All right. Good segue into next year. What do you think as a community the strengths are of the Austin and Mower County area, and talk a little bit about what the goals are for your organization and for the community in the coming year? Kind of what dreams and aspirations do you have looking forward?
Well, I think one of the strengths of our economy of our area is the economy. The fact that the food-based industry isn't quite as susceptible to economic downturns as some of the other areas around us. Also, when Sandy's talking about buying Austin and Mower, when people do that, it helps us collect our half-cent sales tax for the flood control. And I think with that, and along with Walmart opening this last year, we've collected, we're well ahead of what we expected on our sales tax, and I think that kind of goes right into what we need, some of the things we need to do. Probably one of the major things that we need to finish in 2010 is our flood berm on North Main, so we can get North Main protected. I think that's probably the real final component. It's not the final thing in our flood control, but it's the final major component. I think when that's done, that'll be the last segment of protecting the big areas of Austin. And we're looking for one possible grant that we've had in for quite a while, and we're still waiting for the federal government to come through with a grant for, I think it's $2.1 million. And when that comes through, we can go and get ahead, start moving on that North Main project. And when we get that finished, it'll be huge for the city and huge for the businesses on North Main Street. And that's some of our major businesses down there with, the restaurants and the offices and APC, and we need to get that done in 2010, and we need to really focus on that. That, and as far as the city goes, the ongoing budget concerns with LGA. Mm-hmm. We know that there's LGA is it's in jeopardy until this recession's over.
Is over.
Right. So that's something we're going to be dealing with continually.
Yeah, I think the Chamber's top priority would tie into those flood mitigation efforts. It's really been a long-term project in a lot of ways. We worked with the city on getting the local option sales tax in place. That was a very key component. The plans are in place. We're just missing this $2+ million, I guess, to put it together. But a lot of money has been raised and is already in the bank through the local option sales tax. And that project is important to the community because it retains jobs. There's quite a number of jobs in that North Main area, working at Austin Packaging, working in Ormal Corporate. Cheryl works on North Main.
I was waiting to see.
And that is very important as well.
Thank you.
So, protecting those businesses and those jobs in that area, particularly, in the current economic environment, are just critical to the future of our community, and we've got to get it done.
And I would agree with that because I stood and watched as the floodwaters came to within literally a foot of my office with the last flood, and we sandbagged all day long. So, you know, until you've been through that, you don't really realize how critical it is to so many people in our community. And as I look ahead, I really just expect and hope to have many more great groups and conventions coming into town to be showing our city off as the great destination that it really is. And I'm most proud of our community right now for so many things that they've done in pulling together this past year. You know, we had the fire, we had a devastating tornado, and it's just been really gratifying to see our citizens and our businesses work together to help one another out, cleaning up yards and businesses and, you know, the pulling together. And I expect to see more of that this year, and I'm really excited to see what will go in our spots downtown.
Great.
We've also seen some progress this year, you know, despite the economy. I mean, the expansion at the Hormel Historic Home, certainly a great thing for our tourism and a great gathering area for the community at large, you know, a place for weddings and banquets and a beautiful facility, you know, and all those funds were raised this year despite the economy, and you know, they turned the key and it was debt-free and a beautiful project. So another example of how Austin can pull together. The United Way Drive is very close to completion, and they had a successful year again as well. So people are still giving, they're still supporting, they're still looking towards the future and improving the community.
Kind of an optimistic outlook. That's nice to hear. Mayor and Cheryl and Sandy pipe in as well. As you're looking at projects and things, and I realize infrastructure things like flood berms and so on don't necessarily require volunteers to complete, but are there any activities that the city is doing, any board positions that you need to have filled, Park and Rec, or anything that your organizations are doing that you'd like to kind of put a call out there to say, hey, we really need some community input, whether it's feedback on an issue or bodies to participate in government or organization?
Well, I think we're probably going to need a few more board members. I know we're going to be trying to fill HRA, a board position on HRA. And actually, a lot of the boards we've taken care of already because we want to have that done by January 1st this year. But HRA, I think a library position on the library board, we still need somebody for that. So, yeah, people are interested. There's positions open on boards, and, you know, we need people. We need citizens to do that, you know, just regular citizens. And, you know, normally people step up and are really good about volunteering for that, but we've had our advertise. You have to advertise for them, and we've done that, and we still have a few positions left. Some of them we haven't had enough people to apply for them, and some of them we just, you know, as you're changing people around, sometimes you take one person off of one board and put them on another one. And Roger Bowden came off of a couple and is going on one, and you know, you got to shake them or move them around a little bit. We're still doing that. We could do that, and you know, obviously, we need people for that. And the people, as the ongoing budget concerns, people, one of the things that amazed me getting into government is how much, when people, you know, have input, how much difference that can make. I mean, just 1, 2, 3 people calling their city council or going to a council meeting, you know, can really make a difference and can really sway the city council. And I think if people contact their council people when they feel one way about an issue, they really should do it. You hear a lot of, well, what's one voice, you know, how much difference is that going to make? You know, if you're talking about the federal government, maybe not, but if you're talking about the city of Austin, it really could, especially if you get 2 or 3 of your family members or friends that feel the same way about something. And you know, we're always looking for more participation and from people, more input from people in the city.
Great. Now, Cheryl, you and Sandy also have many volunteer opportunities. If folks are interested in participating in your organization, how do they get in touch with you?
They can call our office, 437-4563, and we have occasional need for people that would like to be on a bus and give city tours. It happens from time to time that all of us are out with groups on a particular day, and we do have a couple of really dedicated volunteers that we can call when we have that need, as well as sometimes we'll have a need for several hundred welcome bags that we'll pack for a group.
You need to have stuffers on hand to do that. Great.
So there is need for that from time to time.
All right. And Sandy, how do people get a hold of you if they'd like to be more involved in the chamber?
Well, they can call us, of course, 437-4561. Our major event where we need the most manpower is the Community Festival, Freedom Fest. We need almost 900 hours of volunteers.
All the bodies
People
you
can
can
run
take.
children's games, help line up the parade, help set up, take down, all kinds of opportunity, all kinds of skill levels needed. So we would sure like to hear from somebody.
Fantastic. Well, there are a lot of things taking place in Austin in the coming year, and you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. If you have something that you'd like to share with these folks, don't hesitate to get in touch with them as well. They would love to hear from you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
Stay tuned for more Cities on the Move.
The Canadian Pacific Holiday Train travels throughout Canada and the northern United States, bringing Christmas cheer and raising awareness for local food shelves. Let's check it out.
Santa Claus normally travels around the world in a sleigh with 8 reindeer, but this Christmas season, the Canadian Pacific Railroad gave Santa a preview of the countryside aboard their holiday train. Jeff Johnson of the Canadian Pacific Railroad explains how this idea was born.
This is the 11th year of the holiday train, the 10th year in the U.S. The first year it was just in Canada. We had one train. Now we have 2 trains, one going across Canada and one going through the mid-states of the U.S. and the northeast portion of the United States, like New York and Pennsylvania. Well, it was within our company. The company was looking a way to give back to the communities that we operate and serve. And this idea came up of being able to bring this train to different communities along our routes and be able to provide them with the fight against hunger at the local food shelves.
The Canadian Pacific Holiday Train has been raising food, money, and awareness for food banks in communities across Canada and the United States. To date, they have helped raise $4 million and 2 million pounds of food with the Holiday Train program. From the initial partnership with the National Food Sharing Program, this was a new idea formed in 1999. That December, Canadian Pacific began running a freight train decorated with thousands of Christmas lights across Canada to raise awareness of the issue of hunger prevalent in all communities. In 2001, Canadian Pacific launched a second holiday train in the United States. The goal of the holiday train is to collect food and money for local food banks and to raise awareness in the fight against hunger. At each event, the holiday train provides a boxcar stage, a lineup of great musical talent, and a corporate contribution to the local food bank. The community in turn is encouraged to donate food and funds, all of which stays in the community.
We have a few thousand LED lights on the entire train. Each car is decorated, and when we pull into town, we have, as you can see behind me, we have a stage car that a box car opens up, and it's a full sound system in the car, and it's a full stage. And then we perform for about a half hour at each location, and the idea is to get people to come out, see the show, and bring a monetary donation or some food for the local food bank. And everything that they bring and collect here stays right here and will help support the local Salvation Army food shelf.
The train carries a variety of performers, including a Santa who opens the show with a rather unique song.
Ho, ho, ho! How y'all doing out there today? Holiday, holiday. My suit is red and my beard is white, and I love the love that I feel tonight. Neighbors helping their neighbors out in times of struggle, in times of doubt. And the way you all look is like a dream. If you feel me out there, people scream!
As you can see, we have the band Prescott. We have Adam Puddington and Willie Porter. And they do an assortment of different songs of their own and some holiday songs as well.
Santa Claus is coming down. Santa Claus is coming to town. He's making a list, he's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town.
The train itself is a festive sight as it pulls across the countryside.
We have 1 locomotive and 14 cars. The rear 4 cars are where our performers and a crew that are staying with the train are staying, and the other ones are a mixture of freight cars that are decorated in the LED lights.
The holiday trains travel across Canada and the northern United States. In our region, stops were made in Waseca, Janesville, Owatonna, Rochester, Wabasha, Winona, Austin, and Mason City.
There is 2 trains. One that is traveling across Canada. Both of them originated in Montreal on Thanksgiving Day, November 26th. This one, it made its way through the northeast U.S. Down into New York and Pennsylvania, and then came into the mid-states here, and we'll make our final destination in Moose Jaw. The other one is traveling across the the entire continent of Canada, or the entire country of Canada, and actually will reach its final destination on the western coast of Canada.
Crowd response has been very enthusiastic, even on bitterly cold days.
Usually the crowd is very, very enthusiastic. As you can see, we have Santa Claus traveling with us, and he's always a big hit. He opens our shows for us with a little rap, and you know, everyone's very warm-hearted, even in the bitter cold.
Trains have long been important to our region, delivering people and goods. During this Christmas time, they traveled the region to spread a little holiday cheer.
Happy New Year! Here's what is happening in Austin this month. Martin Luther King Jr. Day will be Monday, January 18th this year, and a couple of celebrations are in the works to commemorate this holiday. An evening of music, storytelling, and drama will be held on the 18th at 7 p.m. in the Frank Bridges Theater of Riverland Community College. The event is sponsored by the Austin Human Rights Commission. And on Tuesday, January 19th, there will be a Day of Hope celebration at Our Savior's Lutheran Church from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. The celebration will include a soup meal, program with guest speaker John Stiffen, and music by the Austineers. The event is free and open to the public. Other events for January include the Northwestern Singers Annual Winter Show, which will be held at the historic Paramount Theater, 7 p.m. on Saturday and 3 p.m. on Sunday. The show includes Broadway songs, singing, dancing, and orchestra accompaniment. Call the historic Paramount Theater at 507-433-0934 for tickets. If you have an event to share, please visit our website, ksmq.org, and tell us all about it. Next week, Olmsted County Commissioner Ken Brown and Southeast Minnesota Rail Alliance member Tim Geisler explain what high-speed rail would offer to our region. Bucky Legridge shares his cap collection, and we visit the Betsy Tacy Society in Mankato. Please join us Tuesday, January 12th at 6:30 p.m. for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Going to town. He's taking a lift, he's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's 99. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the Blandin Foundation.